I'm Aaron Matus with D1.ticker and Collegiate Connect, here to talk a little bit about the idea of new athletic directors jumping immediately into high-profile coaching searches. And today, we're joined by Boise State AD Jeramiah Dickey because, well, you went through this exact situation just a year ago. And
Right.
Turner, multi-stop athletic director and heads up Collegiate Sports Associates. He helped in the search that landed Jeramiah at Boise and then helped Jeramiah in his search for a new head football coach. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Aaron. Good to be here.
Jeramiah,
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron.
Football here. Given everything that's happened in the last couple of months and maybe 48 hours, how glad are you to not be looking for a head football coach right now?
You know, it's one of those things. I was actually talking to my wife about it. Is we're coming up on a year of me being in the chair, and I am very grateful that we found our coach last year, and that we're not having to deal with the chaos that's currently taking place in our industry right now.
Every day seems to bring something new. Todd, it's abnormal to be assisting with an AD search and have the football job open or come open during the search. Just curious, how does that change the dynamic of a search?
Well, it changed everything, actually. We were moving along at a normal pace for our hiring an athletic director, and the coaching change happened unexpectedly. So we huddled together with the leadership of the university, the president, and some others, and made the determination that if we could help them quickly hire an athletics director, that AD really needed to be leading the search for the football coach. And, with the recruiting calendars and all the things that the fan interest externally, it was a little unusual, but we were prepared, and the process worked really, really well. And Jeramiah can tell you about the hiring the football coach because he was in that up to his elbows, and he did a great job of it. But getting him on board was the first step, and I think we had great cooperation from the university. They trusted us, Aaron, to help them identify high-quality candidates in less than a week. Fortunately, we've done some preliminary work, and we were able to do that and present a diverse candidate pool that they quickly went through, and Jeramiah was clearly the best choice for Boise, and it's worked out great.
Jeramiah, on your end, how does your view of a job change? That's a huge landscape shift. What if a football coach is there or not? I mean, this is a position that is automatically tied to your tenure. So how did you handle that?
Aaron, I viewed it as a tremendous opportunity for me as a first-time AD, and that relationship with the football coach is maybe, and not being overly dramatic, the most important relationship I have in this department. And so to get hired on at a place like Boise State with this brand and the national perception around the program, and to have that opportunity to bring in, a coach that's of my choosing, and our team's choosing, I saw a lot of positive in that. Not ideal in terms of how, the timing and being hired at essentially the same time, but there were a lot of positives that came out of this search and that process with, Todd and his team, and I'm forever grateful.
Zach Lassiter is about to go through this process. Arthur Johnson, FIU's new athletic director, is going to be going through this. And certainly Miami's new athletic director could potentially be going through this. So we'll start with you on this one, Jeramiah. If you were to write a book or a journal or whatever on how to handle the pressure of something like this early in your tenure, where would you start?
One, I would start with, who's assisting. I said it before, and I'm grateful for it, and very much mean it. The university making that decision to go with Todd and his team, and that was huge for me because I was able to hit the ground running. They were prepared with all the data and the information that I needed. Obviously I had my own list of items that were important to me, but it really allowed me to hit the ground running, and so that was hugely beneficial, for this search, and it would be very much a part of any book that I wrote about it. And then I think just the experience of going through it before, and And like I said, you don't, no one draws it up this way. It was very non-traditional, and to be hired, and have a press conference on Monday and having your first head football coach interview that afternoon. But you play the hand you're dealt, and it really forced me to create some relationships and partnerships very early on in that process that I think are benefiting me today. And so, I may have only been there less than 24 hours, but, every day felt like a year, and it's paid dividends.
Todd, as someone who's been on both ends of this in terms of the search and also in the AD chair, do you have sympathy for someone that goes through this, or do you look at it as an opportunity, or is it a tough level with us? Is this a tough spot to be in?
It is a tough spot to be in. I got to tell you that Jeremiah was phenomenal. I think the fact that he had been through similar searches at Baylor, worked with Mack Rhodes when they hired Dave Aranda. He understood the process. He understood the importance of his participation in doing it. And I got to tell you, within a week, he had made, significant trips, done things that were extraordinary, while trying to move his family and do all the things that went along with doing that. It was most unusual, but it couldn't be done if you hadn't had two things. Number one, you do have to have a good team behind you. And I think our staff did provide guidance and support and background research on coaches that he would be interested in. And but at the end of the day, Jeremiah ran this search like a pro, the pro that he is, traveling when he needed to, being engaged personally with not only advisors like us and people at the university, but directly with the coaches that he was recruiting. And I don't know how many hours of sleep he got during that week, but it wasn't many.
Let me ask you this, Todd. This could happen with any coaching position in an athletic department. Obviously, the pressure is going to be on with football, but what is the realistic expectation for a new athletic director to know the entire landscape of an athletic department across the different sports from day one? And how can they get some help in that, given that, let's be honest, it's pretty much impossible to have a full grasp of it across the entire department?
Yeah, I mean, the new AD is drinking out of a fire hose under the best of circumstances, but trying to learn the culture of the place that they're going to and know the people. But Jeremiah had worked in college athletics for quite a while and worked under good people. He knew the importance of relationships, of patience, of communicating well with not only the people that were involved in the search directly, but the coaching staff and people at the athletic department and at the university. I mean, he worked as a partner with Dr. Trump, who was the president at Boise State. That was her first time going through an AD search and also a football coach search. So the team was really learning on the job, and they did just a marvelous job, mostly because of, I think, Jeremiah's training and his patience, and he just instinctively knew what to do.
Jeremiah, you've got a reputation as a fundraiser, and it's in your DNA, so to speak, to build relationships with key stakeholders. So that was probably something you wanted to do early in your tenure. So we're curious here in the office, those key stakeholders often have pretty big opinions about maybe what you should be doing with a position like this. Did you have to put some of that on hold initially, or how did you navigate perhaps having some of those conversations early on while you were also searching for a football coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously as the new AD coming in, there was a hit list that I had that I knew would be important to not just that hire, but, to our success here overall. And in a place like Boise State, with our tradition and brand and success, so over the last 20 years, I knew there were some individuals that I needed to connect with. And as Todd said, there weren't a lot of hours for sleep or even family that week. And but it was a priority, and it was one of the most important decisions maybe that I will have made here. And so, I reached out to those that I needed to, and it sets up great. Obviously I'm introducing myself, but everyone, here, especially with football, that is a priority and something that, it led to easier conversations. And I think it allowed me to establish some of those relationships very early on, and at minimum give people the feeling that they had, a seat at that table. And I was trying to take in as much as I possibly could. And I had done my research knowing that, as soon as I got hired, I would have to hit the road and utilize our team and very much depend on them. I mean, some things that you brought up, Aaron, just knowing the ins and outs of the department and who the movers and shakers were within the department, and who a head coach hiring would impact, and what our budgets were, and digging into the budget from a recruiting standpoint and salary pool. And there was just so much. But, going back to what Todd said, I'm so grateful and thankful for my time with Mac Rhodes and Hunter Yurchek and others in this industry that I've been fortunate to learn from, and to go through those searches, whether it was a football search or a baseball search, whatever that was. I utilized those experiences to very much plan out what I thought that week would look like, and knowing you can't control everything, but I did my best to at least control as much as I possibly could. And I knew what was most important to a head coach. And a big part of a search is not just selling us, but them selling themselves. And it led to some really good conversations, and really honest and vulnerable conversations, because I was new and they weren't going to offend me. And so we were able to dig in very early on. And I think that's the connection ultimately that I made with Andy, that I knew he was someone that I could lock arms with and take this program to the next level.
Well, the pressure is going to be on for some new ADs here in the coming weeks. It will certainly be fascinating to watch. And gentlemen, we can't thank you enough for being here today and having this conversation with us.
Thank you, Aaron. Good being with you.